Hi folks, I picked up this cast iron boot scraper duck or loon at an auction. I want to show you how I cleaned it up. I want to get the outside clean. I don't want to remove the paint. It's cast iron and there's a lot of surface rust, but I want to maintain the appearance of patina. The bottom has this rust in it. It's got that cool little bar in there. I think it's for hanging the thing on a wall. But the way I did it is I used acid. You can use sulfuric acid. This is muriatic sulfuric acid, which I actually had this. If you have cleaning vinegar, if you have lemon juice, you can use Coke. Anything that's acidic, you could even probably pour ketchup in there. So I set the thing upside down. This is an outbuilding. You need a ventilated area because when this sits, it will gas off. So you need some ventilation. You should wear gloves. I didn't burn my hands at all, and I don't think this is going to burn your hands, but you should wear gloves. Definitely wear eye protection because dealing with acid, you don't want to splash it in your eyes. So I put this just like that. I let it sit for a couple of hours. Just walked away and left it. If you have vinegar, you can let it sit overnight. Ketchup, anything, you can let it sit. Of course, that's a lot of ketchup to fill that. You can dilute it. But, so because it was acid, I wanted to dilute it before running it down the drain. I do have to do the outside too, so I stoppered up the sink, diluted it before I handled it, and just flipped it over like that. So you can see it didn't darken the water at all, but it did clean the bottom. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to fill up this sink so that the loon is submerged. And then I'm going to add a little bit more of the muriatic acid. And again, like I say, cleaning vinegar is really good. It's probably a cheap way to go. You can use white vinegar. You just have to let it soak a little bit longer. If you use it, you probably don't want to save it. You can save it for a while, but after a number of uses, it is not as effective. So after letting it sit for just an hour with a muriatic acid solution, got out an old toothbrush and I just scrubbed it down. Now, obviously, I'm removing some dirt that was on there too, but I wanted to remove the chunky pieces of rust, if you will. I didn't want to have it covered in like I say, the orange rust. So I just gave it a nice scrubbing with this toothbrush. Obviously, if I'd had two hands, I could do it more effectively. Get all the nooks and crannies, but again, it's a soft toothbrush. You want to do this on something that's got well-adhered paint. Now, if say it's an old metal sign or something, you may not want to clean as much of the rust off. You may, on the side, you may want to leave it. You certainly would want to clean the backside. I would want to clean the backside, but it's all a matter of your taste, and so how long you want to leave it in the acid is dependent on how much of the crusty rust that you want to have on here. And the sink continued to drain as I worked. Then once I cleaned the top, I got to the bottom. Then I did have a small wire brush that I pulled out. On the bottom, I didn't want that clean. Get all the gook and nook out of there. Luckily in this place I had hot water that helped a little bit. And of course, using the muriatic acid, you do want good ventilation. If anybody's ever used that on concrete, it gets really, really cloudy. So I then put this in a place to dry. Luckily, I had this space heater. And it was in the springtime, so it was still operating. So now it came off and it was nice and warm, maybe 100 degrees. So then the next step is to preserve it with linseed oil. It gives a nice clear coating, gives a little bit of sheen. Some people will take the linseed oil and reduce it with turpentine. It's purely up to you how thick a coating you want on it. I just wet it all down, made sure everything was covered. This way it'll turn out to have a nice clean surface. You can pick it up and touch it. Like I say, you're not going to get orange stains on your hands, your gloves. Nice. Then put it there. I let it sit for 24 hours. I came back the next day. Let's take it out in the sunshine, take a look at it. Now, if you like this video, please give me a like. I'd appreciate the like. A subscription is great. YouTube really pushes the subscription. I don't want to be a beggar, but subscribe, like. Now look at this in the sun. Looks great, doesn't it? It's nice and clean. Still got that patina look to it. It may have taken more rust off than some people would have liked, but again, it depends on how long you want to let it soak. The bottom I really, really like because that linseed oil dried on there and gave a nice surface. You don't need that rust on the bottom. So here's a before and after. I really appreciate you watching this. Thanks, folks.